Are you there? Are you there? Kate, can you hear me? Kate, you're drowning! Hydrophobia is a game that I both love and hate. I love and hate it. And in my first review of this game, I didn't have the shovel of shame to actually give it a shovel of shame. But I am giving it a second chance. And this game is like mold. It grows on you. So, Hydrophobia. Good game, bad game. Do I still hold my disdain of it? Find out after these messages. Hydrophobia is this. Hydrophobia. Let's look first at the name here, because this is Hydrophobia prophecy. So, are you prophesying that someone is going to be afraid of the water? Hydrophobia just means the fear of water. Maybe it's that she's got rabies. You know, because people who are rabid generally tend to have fear of the water. I don't know. Hydrophobia as a game, though, is all about a hydromancer, okay? And Kate starts out as just one of your security people, does her security detail and everything, helping keep the place in order. And I get the sense that you're on this, like, ship. Okay, they reference being on a ship, and it sinks a lot, but the layout of this seems more like a floating city or something. It's hard to actually say. But the Malthusians attack, and they are eco-terrorists. And yeah, for once you actually have the eco guys being the terrorists, because they are save the earth, and they're actually killing people, and they're showing them killing people to try and save the earth, which is interesting. You don't see that very much. It's usually, we have to save the planet. That's why I'm a lessee. I like that. I like that part of the story, is that it's not black and white. Because while saving the earth is important, the way they're going about it is wrong. But the ship that you are on is slowly sinking. It's slowly sinking as the Malthusians keep devastating it. They keep doing stuff to sabotage it and whatnot, destroy the humans. And so their goals are revealed later in the game. As the story goes, it is cool. It's just enough to get it. As the telling goes, it's... Because telling a story, just conversations back and forth. Just conversations back and forth aren't enough. I could tell you the story of the gingerbread man. And you feel like all you're listening to is just someone on the radio narrating to you what's happening. And I didn't like that. I did like the very far and few in between, where you'd be next to a monitor and the Malthusians would be sitting there and they would be broadcasting. They'd be broadcasting what's going on. And at one point they execute someone on camera. And that's great. That actually sets up what's happening. It gives you a better idea of what their end goals are, and that was a good moment of storytelling. I'm not saying storytelling has to be all this, let's do cinematics. No, but when you have stuff, even in the background, that if you stand, you just watch the screen, and there you go, your story's being told, that is cool. That is cool, because at that point you can either move forward or you're stuck. You know, you're stuck watching it or you move forward. You got the choice. How much do you want to learn? And so I like those key points better than I like the points where they just kind of narrated and did the usual, something's going on here. You know, we are, let's walk. I mean, when you have characters just moving around, kind of pantomiming what's going on, while telling what's going on, that's not as cool. Show but don't tell. Big thing in storytelling. And Hydrophobia, at this point, does fail in the storytelling departments. Not that this is a bad story, it's just that the way they told it could have been so much better. And I understand this is an indie developer. Okay, so I'm not going to judge you too harshly for how you present your story. But then let's go forward and let's look at the gameplay. And this is... I played it in two platforms. Okay? I played it on PC and Steam, and I played it on PlayStation 3. And the PlayStation 3 was so much better. So much better. Which, go figure. I felt like I actually had control when I was using the duck and cover stuff. So if I had to get up against... If I actually had to get up against the wall and duck and cover, so I could exchange volleys of shots between me and the enemies. I could do that on my PlayStation 3. When trying to do that on PC, it was fumbles all the time, and I never got the duck and cover system, which sucked. And sad to say, the PC version, my recording kind of disappeared on that, which wasn't fun. But what do you do? What do you do? So I didn't like that about the PC version, but say la vie. Still, the game itself does a decent enough job of going through the motions and just playing like your average run, cover, shoot. There's not much to it. I mean, there just really isn't a whole lot to this game that makes it feel like it's just taking from Gears of War, taking from maybe some Call of Duty a little bit, and taking from this, that, and putting it all together into this mishmash ball. And say, here's your game. Here's your game. It doesn't do anything exceptionally well. And that's really something I found disappointing in the game. It's not that it does it horrible, at least on PlayStation 3, but it's just that it doesn't do it well, which is what I hoped. I hope for better. So the controls, not necessarily a bad thing, not necessarily a good thing, just the thing. Voice acting. Yes, it has voice acting. Oh my gosh! The ship is sinking! I mean, the people who did this, obviously voice acting is either a second career for them, or they're just not coming into their own for voice acting. Because I just get the sense that the people that were actually narrating this, the people that were reading these lines, they just don't have the same amount of experience to make it fully fleshed out and feel like, to really grip the audience. There is a talent to voice acting. There is a talent to voice acting. And it seems like, given that's an indie, it seems like they got anyone that could work without necessarily getting enough people on it that it would be a much better experience. So I a little disappointed with the voice acting. It's not that it was Resident Evil horrible. Blood. Jill, the locked master of picking. Yeah, I flubbed the line, but still, it's not that it was a horrible thing. It's just that it wasn't great. It's passable for an indie title. And that's, when you're an indie developer, you get a lot of passes, which is kind of a good thing and a bad thing. Because I understand it costs money to make these games. And as an indie developer, you want to make your games, you want to make them something that'll stand out. Because games now are a dime a dozen. I mean, seriously, go on Steam, look at how many games retail for about $1. Dime a dozen, more or less. So I wasn't impressed with the voice acting at all. Even so. So you've got good story in premise, but horrible storytelling. Well, average storytelling, I should say. Average controls. Average voice acting. How about layouts? Layouts actually were the good part of the game, because actually they do give you the feeling that you're on, well, not a ship per se, but like, I don't know what this thing is. This is like it's half ship, half city, half nuclear bunker. I mean, you kind of transition through stuff, and it's more than I would expect on an actual ship. So the variety of levels, you're sitting there in bulkheads and stuff, and narrow corridors for most of it. But when you get into the open levels, it's kind of a question of, how did I get here? Because the transition doesn't always make sense. I guess you just all of a sudden go into this cargo room that doesn't quite make sense, and then there's a generator room that's got these wide open areas that don't quite make sense. And so I question a lot of the level design. It's not that it's bad, it's not that it's bad transition, but for a game that I've played through about 4 times now, since I did my original review, and I really, really wanted to give it a shake. Fair shake at things. The level designs on this one just seem kind of like the transitions don't make sense. I mean, I've not military, but I have been on a submarine before, and I have been on a battleship. And when they hold their cargo and everything, things seem a little tighter. Things don't just all of a sudden balloon out, boom, and there you go. I mean, it really failed the transition between parts well enough to make it believable. That's my main key thing. The only transitions I saw was actually into the civilian areas, and even then, it's just I went through an elevator shaft, and all of a sudden I came out into a hallway that led into a civilian area. Okay, that's believable-ish. Believable-ish. But all the actual inner workings of a ship, I didn't like those level designs. It's not that they were horrible. It's just that they didn't make sense given my current knowledge of vessels. So, level design, iffy. This game does a lot of just stuff that's average. It's really an average game. And, oh, yes, the big star of the game is your hydro powers. Now, okay, have you ever played Force Unleashed? Because that was beautiful. The way they handled them, I mean, you get your force and you're like, force choke, force throw, and I had so much fun with it. This one is, if something's in water, you can move the water around. And that's how you move stuff. So anywhere there's water, you can control stuff and move stuff around. Seems cool, but controlling stuff it was more difficult on PC, and on PlayStation 3 it was simplest, PC should be where everything is easier. It should be easier to do your game on PC. I don't understand why the PC version was so much harder to play than the PlayStation 3 version, guys. But so I was able to like pick up boxes, move stuff around. Hydromans. Seems cool. Oh, and you can throw stuff too. Seems cool until you realize that you're at the end of the game, guys. You get your hydromancing powers with 20 minutes left in the game. And this is the sell of the game, guys. This is your whole thing. You advertise, win, control water, move water like never before. You sell this game based on the fact that you have hydromancing powers. And then all you do, you make us wait until 20 minutes left in the game, and then here you go. No. That's not cool. That is not cool, guys. All right? Having to wait until then. Oh, and what do? You can extend your play by using the challenge mode. And what's challenge mode? You get in this little ring circle and you get to throw enemies around, and that's it. And that's stupid. I don't know why I've played this game 4 times. I have tried to give it a fair shake, okay? I have tried to give it a fair shake. So, I'm going to give this game 2 of our normal awards, okay? 2 of our normal awards go to Hydrophobia. The first award is the cut too soon. Why cut too soon? Because the game can be beaten in 3 hours and 20 minutes. I understand it's $1 most of the time, and so $1 for 3 hours, it's like renting a movie, and you can play it again and again and again. It's got trophies. But 3 hours on a game? No, this is not the NES days. I really hate it when developers keep games short, keep them tight like that, because anything under 6, my cutoff is anything under 6, and that's 6 without filler. Anything under 6 hours is cut way too short. And then the fact of the matter that you don't get your hydromancing powers until 20 minutes before the game is over. Oh my gosh. Put on your mining caps, because you know what it's time for. Hydrophobia, I wasn't going to do it. I really want to like this game. It is a guilty pleasure for me to play Hydrophobia. Shovel of shame. Shovel of shame, because the game doesn't deliver. Okay? When you advertise, it's like if I said, we have a Jurassic Park game, but you spend the entire game in a jungle with no dinosaurs, and you never actually see Jurassic Park until the end of the game, because the whole game is actually you getting to Jurassic Park. That is not cool. You can't do something like that. You need to make sure that you deliver your promise to people where they have enough time to enjoy it. This just blows my mind. I want to like this game. It is a guilty pleasure for me to play the game. And it just has to get the shovel of shame because of their handling of the hydromancing powers, because everything is below average. At least if you got the hydromancing powers in the beginning. Psyops, beautiful. Psyops gave you telekinesis right away. You had a lot of fun with telekinesis all through the game, and Psyops said, here you go. And right there, you just had fun with it. But no, they give you your one and only power at the very end of the game. Bad developer. No biscuit. Needless to say, they went out of business. They're no longer developing games. Been dissolved, yada yada. Someone else owns it now. Whatever. So, I don't recommend this game. Even though it's a guilty pleasure for me, I can't recommend this game. Morals. Let's get through the morals, guys. What do you got? Gun violence, profanity, murder, blood, actually, if you do a good headshot. Issues with that, obviously, parents would have a good reason not to let their kids play it. But then again, since it is on the shovel of shame list, you probably aren't going to want your kids playing it anyway, right? Hydrokinesis, actually. Hydromancing. The fact that she can move water with her mind and stuff like that, that actually might be something, akin to magic, because some people, anything that's not natural is more in the lines of magic, and so therefore people would assume that that is something that is not acceptable. So you got that as well. Issues with any of that, obviously you wouldn't want to play Hydrophobia. Now I'm probably going to end up playing it a few more times, because like I said, for me it's a guilty pleasure. And maybe, just maybe, the success of the game is that it's short enough to complete, and so you want to play through it more and more because they're pinning it on the replay value, kind of like the old NES titles did. And maybe that's their game? Hard to say. Comment below as always, and we'll catch you next time. Don't forget, by the way, support link, comments, share, like, right? All that stuff below, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Hopefully with another guilty pleasure that I can enjoy more than just crap on. Later.